Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. They were at property address 18655 Warm Springs Street here in Sandy. I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the front of the home. We are just to the left of the front door. Easy clean out to hunt down. Right under a little brass cover plate, looks like that right there. You have a 3-inch ABS clean out as our point of access. I'm going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. We're going to introduce water to the line here in just a moment. We're going to get the camera down line here a little ways. Home inspection on this place was underway yesterday, so plenty of water's been down this already, but we will add some into the line here in just a moment. I zeroed the foot counter out there at the base of the clean out, and away we go. The tie-in right there at the top of the pipe, we're about to see a transition joint here. There it is. Transitioning over to 4-inch 3034 PVC pipe. Anyway, that tie-in just before that, if you notice that, that's the top of the pipe. Right now it's on the left side of the screen. It's called a test tee. It's very similar to a clean out, the diagnostic tool that's used to pressure test the line when it's first installed. It's capped off after that and never seen again. This, however, right here, this big tie-in at the top of the pipe is a secondary clean-out access. And that one is likely going to be in the driveway. I can see a few different cover panels over there. Those are very commonly either in a driveway and or in a sidewalk. Sometimes the front edge of your yard. Anyway, I get a lot of people asking me if those tie-ins are concerned about a party line or something like that, which is not really something you have to worry about on new construction these days. That's all those tie-ins are. Some water coming down line here, and we're just about to the main. There's the main connection there at 41 feet. Yeah, it's nice to see not a bunch of construction debris in the sewer line. That's a very common problem. I commonly refer to new construction houses as the scariest lines I look at, and it's for a reason. The debris that gets into these things is not a kid's toothbrush. It's 100 pounds of gravel, rebar, nail gun strips, gnarly stuff that causes a blockage the first time you flush a toilet. Well, anyway, we're going to let the line drain off here for a moment. I'm also going to go locate the camera head just to verify where the line terminates. That'll also tell me where that secondary cleanout is so I can tell you where it's at. Alrighty. Sewer line terminates out on Warm Springs Street, and the line here essentially runs dead straight. We come back in. I can't remember if this started. I feel like it had a little bit of a jog in it, but it essentially runs dead straight. And the secondary cleanout in this circumstance, it's basically directly in line with the first cleanout. If you look out, it's about 2 feet or so from where the front yard meets the sidewalk. You'll see a steel cover plate there in the grass. There's something to watch out for. I think they're going to be low and flush enough. You shouldn't have to worry about smacking it with your lawnmower, but just so you know what that is there. You also have another landmark you can go off of if you go stand out at the curb. It's about 15 feet, or maybe 10 to 15 feet to the left of the driveway as you face the house from the road. You'll see an S stamped in the concrete, in the curb. It stands for sewer. That's where the sewer line crosses into the street. You've got the ever so slightest amount of standing water here. I'm trying to tell if that's actually flowing. Bear with me a second. The hard part is this is a directional clean out and I can't actually see the bottom of it. Sometimes you'll get like a condenser line for furnace and whatnot that'll put a little bit of water down line. No, that is indeed a little bit of standing water there. It's not rippling anymore, so. Anyway, it dissipates off here at about 22 feet. If this thing is so minor, if this were not brand new construction, I quite literally would not even be talking about this right now. That right there is about a 32nd of an inch of standing water. That has zero bearing on functionality. The only thing you would see hang up in that spot more consistently than anywhere else in the line is if you were dumping a lot of cooking oil down the sink. Fats will build up anywhere in a sewer line, but they concentrate more so where there's standing water, because it cools down rapidly and floats at the top of the water. So it's about a 32nd of an inch. It could be a 16th, but that right there is looking like a 32nd. It's very, very minor. So this is even for new construction. And I guess to preface this, I've been doing this 13 years. I've cambered almost 25,000 sewer lines at this point. Done a lot of drain cleaning and repairs. Anyway, that level of standing water is extraordinarily unconcerning. The one thing I will tell you, though, I do highly recommend, it's not something I would ever recommend repairs on where it sits right now, even for new construction, but I do recommend you rescope the sewer line at about 9-10 months. Check with the builder, make sure your warranty covers the sewer line, obviously. Most of them do, at least they have in the past, my experience. But check it out about 9-10 months into that 1-year warranty. You want to let the line sit for a while. If any shifting or settling is going to happen, you're going to see it in that span of time. And realistically, most settling occurs almost immediately after a line is buried. 9.9 times out of 10, when I come back about a year later, they look exactly the same. But I do catch a handful. It's probably not 99.9%. It's about, I don't know, somewhere around 2 to 5% of them, I will see some level of progression. And if we do see progression, even if it's gone from a 32nd to a 1/4 of an inch, which is still insignificant as it relates to flow, it's something I'd ask the builder to fix, because at that point you don't know within reason when it's going to stop settling, if it's going to keep progressing. But generally, progressive settling does not happen unless you have bad pipe joints, and or it's an old pipe material that's worn out. When a pipe is exposed to the ground where it can suck dirt through it and erode the support out from underneath the sewer line, that's about the only scenario where you ever end up with a truly progression or settling type situation where it just keeps progressing. Otherwise, it's extremely rare to see that. So anyway, as it sits right now, we have great flow of the main. The belly there is having no impact on flow whatsoever. And if you watch the video leading up to that point, you have a very hard vertical dive. Stuff is shooting through this line with a lot of speed. And that, granted, would be a more meaningful factor if that belly were more significant. If you had like an inch of water or something like that, that would be a very nice factor to have to help keep velocity up. Flat or with a steep dive, that standing water is doing essentially nothing to affect flow. But do check it out about 9-10 months in, just to make sure you don't see any progression, because if something does happen, it's on someone else's dime at that point. It's cheap insurance. Anyway, very nicely functioning line as we sit here today. All the pipes in good shape. It's clean and has good flow.